Now. So we're live. All right, folks. Tyler Peck here. I've got Heath Coker joining me right now. We're going to take a couple seconds here to kind of still get things situated. We're going to share our broadcast to other pages real quick. So bear with us. Heath is representing his Carolina Gamecocks while I've got my Clemson hat on.
Okay. And I'll share that.
All right. All right, again, folks, live here with Heath Coker down here in Waycross. So, Heath, tell our viewers how did you get into gaming?
I've many years ago, Commodore 64, that era. I did a lot of SSI. I think it was strategic games, or I'm probably slaughtering the name. But Ultima, I started with RPGs on that, and that worked into playing Risk, and D&D was always big since ET came out.
Right. So when you were playing, I guess D&D back in the day, what was your go-to character of choice?
Oh, always a wizard.
Always a wizard.
Then,
do you remember? Go ahead.
So then into necromancy when that became popular, and I've always played a necromancer.
Do you remember your character's name?
Man, I can't. I had a ranger one time, Ella Reese, which was funny because the friends were aggravating me because of Della Reeves, the actress from Touched by an Angel. They thought that I got the name from that, and I said, no.
I got you. So I guess you said playing D&D growing up, probably Stranger Things hit home to you, huh?
Oh, 100%. Everything on that was. I had my 18-year-old son. I said, "You want to see what my childhood was like? This is it."
Other than actually fighting real monsters?
Well, we fought our own monsters.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I didn't play a whole lot of D&D growing up or anything like that, but just everything else from that TV show was pretty nostalgic. I mean, the Ghostbusters and the mall in season 3. You know, brought back some memories. The music, obviously, hairstyles, all that. So what's your? I know you don't get on the tables a whole lot now, but what's your favorite game?
Since I started playing here in Waycross, this is really where I got back into gaming. Dystopian Wars was my favorite.
Right, yeah, Dystopian Wars, and then they unfortunately shut down.
Yeah, and another company has bought them out, but that's been going on for 2 years, I think. I don't know which company it was.
Yeah, I forget who it was. Yeah, somebody will probably chime in, but I know Lee Yoakum remembers. He probably remembers who bought them out. I think he had just kickstarted their new Kickstarter, and then like a week later they shut down. So we got some people chiming in here. Someone asked, "What is your favorite D&D monster?"
My favorite D&D monster. I like that's a hard one. Probably Beholder. Well, you know, you can't, get better.
I got you. Let's see. Yeah, I think Mike Baker saying we need to get back on the table.
No, he doesn't.
And then someone said Wayland, they're at ? And then warcradle.com.
Yes.
Apparently bought them out.
Yeah, it was Warcradle.
Yeah, Lee Yoakum joined the fray. Yeah, he said War Cradle. So, all right. So yeah, Dystopian Wars was pretty big for a while, and then I know you had mentioned at one time the Aeronautica Imperialists, I believe, from Games Workshop.
Yeah, I got that. Never played it. I've, everything. We've been so busy, but it's fun. That's how I was into Warhammer years and years before I ever played the first game. It was the hobby part. I love the hobby part, and the Aeronautica was. I think as Baker just made a comment.
Yeah.
But the Aeronautica, that was one that really interested, because I was an aircraft mechanic before I went back to school.
Yeah, so you can understand the game, the flight games and navigational type games are right up your alley. For those that don't know, how about you, Eric? I'm butchering the name, Aeronautica Imperialis.
Yes.
Tell folks what that's about.
Well, what I know of it.
I just know it's like the orcs versus the Navy.
Yeah, and they're going to bring more into it. The Eldar and all. I think this game goes back to years ago. They had something. It's X-wing in the 40K world.
Right. Yeah, that's what it kind of looked like. I think I bought some planes just to buy some and put them together. I couldn't pass up the deal. I saw on eBay on them. They look pretty cool, and I enjoy just putting the models together. I hadn't painted them, so they joined the Gray Army, bin.
Yeah, I've got two of those.
Yeah, I think we all do.
The bin of shame.
So it looks like Baker again. They keep showing up as Facebook user on our StreamYard account. But it says, I need to get you to try Blood Red Skies World War II air combat.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. So you're a gamer and hobbyist. So do you like building more or painting more?
Painting. Yeah. Building, it's hard to say. Building's fun.
Yeah. I know you.
Modding and bashing is fun. But I like learning the different types of styles in painting, from wet blends to airbrushing and contrast paints, and I like that a lot more.
Right. Yeah, I know you were chiming in the other night when we had Mac on talking about paint. So what's your favorite paint brand to use or brush?
My favorite brand is Scale 75. It's a couple examples here of that brand.
Right.
Their metallics, I love. They're the best metallics I've ever used. The gentleman the other night was talking. He showed up Monument Games, who used to be Slow Fuse Gaming. Their brushes, the Bombtastics, are to me the best brushes that I've used.
Right.
Army Painter's great. GW is some of the worst, but they are. Yeah. But the Bombtastics, I think that's the name, or Ignite. There's two different series. They are just phenomenal. But I use GW Paint, Vallejo, Reaper, and the Scale 75. That's
okay.
What I use. I'm looking at the wall is when I turn around here.
Yeah. Yep. Your paint wall. Well, we can jump into that. I know your paint wall. You have you pretty much built it using your 3D printers. So for those that don't know, Heath Coker started. I'll let him talk about it, but he is the creator, owner, all those other names you want to use for SwampWorks. So Heath, tell our viewers about SwampWorks, where the idea came from, how it started.
couple years ago, I'm a minister here in Waycross, and just like all churches around, we were declining in numbers, and as the church declines, the payroll declines, and I didn't want to leave Waycross. I didn't want to leave and go to another church, so I did a voluntary cut and pay, and I said I want to start something, side business, side hustle, something to kind of compensate for that. And that's where the need came from. And 3D printing has just always amazed me, and all the things I played with for the years seems to work into this, from Photoshop and AutoCAD and Autodesk and all of that. I'm using all of those skills now.
Right.
Here, trying to design things and print things, and it's pretty neat.
Right, and we talked, and you said if folks can go to swampworkscreative.com, and they can place orders there.
Yeah, it's best to get in contact with me from there or on Facebook.
Okay.
And to personal message. I've lost a couple of people along the way where they've said, "Oh, I'm interested in something," and then we've never really connected after that. So we're working on logistics, and there's other avenues around here that you'll be able to get some of our products, and you'll see them on the tables more.
Okay.
For the gaming end.
Right. Now, on SwampWorks Creative, do you have a gallery of things that you've already printed so folks can see, or is it kind of like they tell you kind of where they're, or even on Facebook, they just kind of tell you what they're after, and you go with it from there?
Yeah, let me see here. Because I think I can.
I hear the printers in the background, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, it's not going to let me do that. Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, swampworkscreative.com. It popped up.
Yeah, that's you can go and see where I've interacted with people in the Waycross gaming community and posted things, but a gallery is definitely something I'm working on and showcasing, and the Gator Books and Gator Games and Books. There it is. That's what I was trying to think of the name. They've got some of my stuff, and he's put them on the table. But basically, if you're wanting something, you can go to thingiverse.com and find what you're wanting there. And what you're doing is you're getting it, and you're paying me to print that part, not me selling that part. But I will print that part. I'll sell you the filament and the time, and I'm really cheap on that. So Thingiverse, you can get all kind of good things there. I do have some lines. Trying to think of the names of the other ones that I do.
So yeah, Thingiverse.
Yeah.
So people can go there. Yeah, I know I've used Heath to print some Gaslands stuff for me. So Gaslands, weapons, terrain.
Dragon's Rest. You can do a search for that. I'm licensed to do their products that they've done Kickstarters and everything you need basically from there, and some other patrons that I support. We can get you made whatever you need.
Right. Well, that's really cool. Yeah. Also, recently, I'll try to show it in camera. I got this you to print for me, this Jason Voorhees bust.
Yeah.
So it's been base sprayed gray. But anyway, so there was that.
Here's a little our mascot. It's not focusing, but it's a plague doctor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see it.
Here he is.
Yeah.
Because I have the resin printer as well.
Right. That's yep. I remember you. Yeah, you getting that and mentioning that. We had a question come in shortly ago. Back to the brushes. What, in your opinion, what makes a good brush?
What makes a good brush is holds a point, and you can get the paint to flow from it, and that's to me have been the important things is having the paint flow from the brush to your item, and to keep its shape.
Right. Now let me ask: Do you use something like this too to help clean
Yes.
your brushes? For those that don't know, there's a brush cleaner out there that helps clean your brushes. So, how do you typically tackle? I know you like Nurgle. So, and for those, that's a faction in Warhammer, Sigmar. So, how do you tackle painting a warband?
If I want to say 7 pieces together, I would assemble. Some people like to paint while it's still on the sprue. I'm not one of those because you're doing more work cutting and sanding and all. But I assemble, prime, and I do it in a production line. I'll do all the base of one color on all of them, and then whatever washes. And there's some technique to build up it's according to how do I want it just tabletop, or do I want to go out of the way with it.
Right. Yeah. For those that don't know, describe like tabletop painted versus another kind like pro painted or.
Baker can probably chime in on this one because tabletop is like 3 or 4 colors, and that's it. It's like a base coat, a wash, and a highlight, and it's on the table. And then more pro line is a lot of more depth. You're getting into the techniques and from wet blending and things. There's a lot of great instructions on YouTube for that. And if anybody ever has any questions, I'm not the best painter in the group, but I will help anybody with any questions on that and walk them through.
Right. And I know also you have done some, I guess, commission painting for a couple of people in the group. Mm-hmm. You also, you help build. I know a lot of people haven't seen it really because probably right after you made it for Randy Young, that's when the pandemic hit. But I know you had built some walls and a tower and everything for him for his Dungeons and Dragon campaign. So, yeah,
we're still working on that.
Right.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge when we're done. It's the whole castle set up with the towers, walls, gatehouse, and we're also doing siege weapons.
Oh wow!
Trebuchets, catapults. It's all kind of neat things, and we're taking our time because they're getting ready for the July 4th. Some sort of game, so we're kind of just taking our time through that. But after that, it's going to be a pretty neat setup.
Yeah, I've seen some of it, and then I know he's been talking, or he was talking a lot about it. Again, this was pretty much right before the pandemic hit it, and I know Mike Baker, who's in our group, had I think you painted maybe an army or two of little guys for him. Mm-hmm. So, let's see. Yeah, someone LOL tabletop about how I do most of my bulk troops. It looks like Baker has said also that you have printed card holders for him. Mm-hmm. And Heath Coker does great work. Painted 1760 to 1780 era British light infantry. So that came from Baker, I'm sure. And Lee Yoakum popped in. Pro line equals his wife, Sarah Yoakum's Star Wars Legion minis. So yeah, she's done. Some of her stuff looks really good. She's been playing a lot of that Star Wars Legion game recently. She was putting that on the tables a good bit. Again, unfortunately, when all this craziness hit, gameplay got suspended. We couldn't get together anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a lot of people are itching to get back on the table, and so is there anything else you would like to talk about, Heath? We, kind of here to help promote Swamp Works, and maybe some, you can get some business out of this. Again, while people are, I guess, kind of stuck at home, they have time to get some hobby projects done, get some things painted.
Yeah, just how has the market changed for your business, if at all? I guess I'm not sure who wrote that, but my market hasn't been promoted as where I should, since it's still been borderline hobby profession. But I have a lot of people inquiring about things, and there's excitement in it. But then the pandemic, this is really, I'm sure, has messed everybody up.
Right. Yeah. Somebody asked me to put in that Masters brush cleaner. I'm gonna add a link real quick for that. Let's see. Sorry, that kind of threw me off for a second. And that was Max that asked. Max, he's in our gaming group. He was the one that asked about the market change. So
I was trying to find those brushes for you, but I don't see it. Their websites. Let's see. Nah. Anyway, but Monument Games, it used to be Slow Fuse Gaming. That's I do. Those are great brushes.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I added for those that were interested, I added that brush cleaner. It's I'll put the link for it in the comment section. So again, for those that have joined and are watching, you actually have to, if you want your name, so Heath and I don't have to be kind of flipping back and forth between the actual Facebook page and StreamYard. You have to go on StreamYard's website, and basically you just grant them permission to see your name. I mean, you literally click like two things, and then that way we can see your name. Because on our end, on the StreamYard account, on the StreamYard page, I mean, everybody but Lee Yoakum popped up as Facebook user. So, but again, it's real simple, 2 or 3 clicks, and you. So, but anyway, I mean, I guess if there's not a whole lot else, again, this is Heath Coker, creator, designer, all those other good names you want to use. Swamp Works. He's here in Waycross. He also does some painting on the side. So you have multiple ways to contact him. You can contact him here on Facebook. He also has the swampscreative.com page. You can go to Thingiverse and look and see what they have there, get ideas for him to print for you. Now, does Swamp Works, is there a Facebook page for Swamp Works?
Yes.
Okay. And it's just Swamp Works?
Pretty sure it's just Swamp Works. You would think that I would have this already to pop up. Yeah, just Swamp Works, facebook.com/SwampWorks. Okay.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Again, I want to appreciate you joining in and stepping in and talking, and speaking about Swamp Works and the gaming hobby.
No problem.
All right. Well, hold up. We got 2. Let's see. Yeah, maybe 2 more comments that maybe popped in. Oh, someone meow.
I think it's probably my daughter.
Oh, okay. And then someone says, got a link for the Streamworks. I don't know what that is. I mean, you just go to StreamYard.com. It's the website you're on. If that the video is coming from, it's right there on the page. It says, I'm going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at StreamYard.com/Facebook. You just click that link, and then, I mean, I can't recall because it's been a while since I did it, but I think you just click that link, and then you just click grant permission, and then your name will end up showing up. Yeah, there you go. Lee posted it. But again, it's right there right there above the video, whatever you want to call that little area.
Yes, Sarah, that's what I was laughing about because I thought it was Ziva, and then I looked and it was you, and that's funny.
I got you.
Yes, yeah. Cats. She mentioned cats. If you want a kitten, not only do I do 3D printing, but apparently I breed kittens here at the house, and we have some. I know that Lee and Sarah's going to want it too, so hit me up for those too. All right.
Well, that sounds. Well, oh, here you go. Yeah, Facebook user. Are you an RPG gamer, and what do you play? I don't know if that's. Go ahead.
Are you asking for digital or pen and paper? Pen and paper. D&D. We played some the 40K fantasy here recently. Now the one I really want to get into and Kickstand there, he's knows what I'm talking about, is that Tales from the Loop, and that really looks interesting. 80s Stranger Things type of thing. The Collider, the Atom Smasher. It looks a lot. Looks like that would be a fun RPG to get into.
Yeah, hold on one second. I've actually got the book. Hold on one second.
All right. Now, other ones I played, Gamma World back in the day. Just a lot of RPGs, pen and paper.
All right, yeah, I'm back. So I can't remember how or whatever, but I was able to. I think I contacted the website that makes this game, and there's some other games, and just told them I was in a gaming group, and they were like, "Well, do you want a free download for one of our games?" And I was like, "Sure." So I just was looking through them, and I happened to pick that one. I've looked through it a couple of times, and I know there's a TV show for it now too. I've not watched it yet.
I binged it. They did a good job. It's not like Stranger Things where it's really one continuing story. They break it up more Black Mirror style, different small stories, and I think they did a really good job for the first season.
Yeah, someone asked, the one with the TV series. Yes, that is what we were talking about. Tales from the Loop. So that's where this came from. I guess it's kind of like, you said Black Mirror, maybe like a Twilight Zone, maybe type feel, sort of. No. Yeah,
well, Twilight Zone, and it's got to feel there is continuity,
right?
But it's individual stories. And they all have, there's a conclusion to all of it, but it's not Stranger Things where one episode leaves here and starts the next one, builds the whole show. But it's really good, and it's if you really like real sci-fi, that to me that's one of the ones. That and The Expanse, which I would love to have a tabletop game miniatures for The Expanse, and Mike Baker, let's make that happen.
Yeah. Also, I don't know. I mean, who was asking, but yeah, RPG games. I've played some. Didn't really grow up with them, but kind of got into a few recently. Been playing the D&D campaign with Randy Young, and that's been going for a couple years actually. Um, so he was also had a group over in Jessup I was part of for a little while. That was been a couple years, but then when I lost my dad, I kind of quit going over there and everything. And then I know that a while back there was a group of us. We played a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle uh, RPG from Palladium. So that was really cool and really fun. So and then we've got one right now. There's a group of guys. We got an RPG game kind of going on right now. Um, so, but anyway, so Sarah Yoakum says, "Oh no, a Clemson fan and a Gamecock fan talking to each other." So, but we get along. We get along. I tell folks that growing up in Georgia, I didn't grow up with the Clemson Carolina rivalry as much. So I actually pulled for Carolina before I pulled for Georgia.
And
So,
and I will probably say the same thing. I would probably pull for Carolina before I'd pull for Georgia.
yeah,
No, I will pull for Clemson when they get to the big ones.
yeah. I know your women's basketball team.
Can't touch them.
I would, man, if we'd have had the chance to hire her. But anyway, let's see. Baker, there is an Expanse RPG. Is what Mike Baker just said. And then James Marable, he's in our group. What's the most challenging issue you run into with your business?
Not knowing marketing, not starting the business out of necessity and not planning ahead. That was a big challenge, and learning this industry. And we're taking, and I'm the only one. There's a bunch of small business printers like myself where they'll make print farms where we can kind of production line some things, but we're buying cheaper printers and having to learn how to make them into $3,000 and $4,000 printers without buying $3,000 and $4,000 printers.
Right.
And learning that, and there's a just listening to people who have done things before you and learn. And when someone tells you to do this, or suggestions, you go with it.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, learning, taking advice from those that already know that might have been in it a little bit longer. There's like you've said, I know we've spoken about it before. There's a community of, I guess, people that you kind of go to that you've gotten to know when you were first starting.
Mm-hmm.
That you kind of go to with your questions and seeking their advice on how to fix certain things that arise with maybe the printer gets overheated or the plate's not moving correctly. I know you had some issues with that when you first started.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
But it's sweet to hear 4 of them going at one time.
Yeah. Like I said, there are people listening may not be able to hear them, but I definitely can hear them running. So we can wait a few more minutes and see if people pop in with any questions. We can see that there's 7 people viewing. So we'll kind of see if maybe they got any last questions before we wrap up. Okay, here we go. Yeah, James Marable. What has been your favorite thing to create?
Miniatures are fun, and they're fun to put up and look at and paint. But the useful things, I've got these attached to my paint wall. Useful stuff like that. That is, when you're done and you look at it, and I'm like, that is just awesome, man. And it's just, and I've got storage containers, a light which you can't really see. But those are the things that I really enjoy. But I like it all. When some of the terrain, I've done some for a friend in South Carolina, it came out and we painted it and based it, and it was a mushroom grotto. It was amazing. And those are fun. It's like art.
Right. Yeah, I know a lot of people may not have seen. But I know you shared with a group of us. Yeah, pretty much your hobby table there in front of you and to your side, I guess, is pretty much all 3D printed. So like where your paints go, where your brushes go, your lighting, all that is from 3D printed equipment.
Yeah,
Your storage stuff. I know it's hard for folks to see, but like I said, there have been a few of us that have witnessed it and seen it.
And I've made some things for the group. There was I don't know how many people bought one, but it has wine corks in it. And
yeah.
Paint 15, 20 miniatures at one time.
I think I know Sig Lee has one, I believe, and maybe James.
Yes.
I can't remember. And then I know you've printed this for me. For folks that don't know what this is, it is for a paint little bottle to go in. And then that way you don't accidentally knock your paint over. Or it would actually take a lot more force to tip this all the way over. So those are kind of cool little things.
And if you're a user of GW paints, your nonal will be knocked over.
Yes. Yep. Unfortunately, mine or my Sephirum sepia was one that got knocked over and went everywhere.
Yeah.
Lee Yoakum commented in 3D printing in general is very do-it-yourself. It's not like printing on paper. You don't just run down to Staples and buy a laser jet that you just plug in and put paper in. Someone said, "Sorry, boys, just saw the show, looking good." And then Marbles is saying he was late to the show, so he doesn't know if his questions that he's asked, if we had already talked about them, and we had not. So those were good questions. And then Marable, yep, yes, I had the cork holder. So Sarah, yes, it happened to me once. So she's talking about knocking either her paint or her wash over. And if you've been painting long enough, it's happened to
everybody.
So, or unfortunately, this has never happened to me. But drinking the cup, which I don't know. I use a completely different thing, and normally I'm drinking from a can anyway. When I'm doing my hobby stuff, so I'll have to edit that out.
Nah.
No, I'm just kidding. This is still kid friendly. So, but anyway, we're just kind of sitting here hanging out, folks. I guess we've had a few questions come back in. We'll wait a little bit more. I don't want to hold Heath up.
You're not holding me up. This is fun.
I hear the cats in the background, and so.
And the cat's saying, "Tyler, take me home."
I've already got a cat and 3 dogs. We're good on this end. Jody Ratliff is before that, Sarah happens to the best of us. And then Jody goes, "Tyler, how often is the show?" Jody, honestly, there is no set. I do not have a set time. I try to give people at least a day or two notice on the Waycross Gaming community page and on my personal Facebook page. This is something that honestly has just started this week. This is my 3rd episode. Earlier in the week on Tuesday, I talked with Mac McClellan. He's up in Beaufort. He started the Beaufort Tabletop Gaming up there. He also had his first convention that he started back in February of this year. And he's got a few other people that help him run things up there. But that was on Tuesday. And then actually earlier this morning, I spoke with a guy named James Baldwin. And he's the creator of kind of an indie game called The Drowned Earth. And that was a game that Mac had discussed and talked about, and it is a game that Mac highly pushes when he goes to conventions and he shows demos for. And Mac also builds just kind of unbelievable terrain for it and for other games. I would suggest you kind of look at his stuff if you're interested. His name's William Mac McClellan. He's on the WGC page. You can find him there. But some of his terrain builds are just, I mean, phenomenal. I mean, he can take a like a plastic airplane, that you buy for $3 at Dollar General, and he'll go to Hobby Lobby and get some aquarium terrain. And I mean, he throws this thing down and then paints it. I mean, and it just looks phenomenal. The first time I actually met Mac face to face was picking a terrain piece up from him. He had posted it on our page and on his page, and was like, free terrain. And I said, I want it. So I drove all the way to Beaufort and back in one day to pick that up. And I can post a picture of it later on the show. So yeah. Again, Jody, no real set time. Don't have a set date. It's not like it's every Tuesday at 6 o'clock or anything like that. I kind of just whenever I can get someone on, I try to get them on, and I want to kind of work around their schedule and my schedule. Right now, my schedule is pretty much wide open. I know some people work, some people are working from home. Some people are actually having to get out and go to work. Right now, with being an educator, I'm at home. So, I'm home every day. So, Mike Baker, I have drank from the wash cup. So, and marbles for Heath. If you could give your past self, prior to starting SwampWorks, or anyone new to the 3D printing scene advice, what would you tell them?
First thing, ask yourself, what is it you're wanting to make? Are you wanting to do larger things, terrain, or you want to do miniatures, jewelry? That is the big thing to determine which road you take. Research the machines, get on different groups, ask questions. There's some wonderful FAQs written, some guides written on like the specific machines, like the Ender 3s. That's what I use. Luke Hatfield on the Facebook group, step by step. Here's your problem. If you're having a print ain't coming out right, you can look at a picture and see what's causing the problem and go to solve that, which 90% of it is bed leveling. But it's just knowing what you want to do, knowing, really have a conversation with yourself. Am I going to do this? Do I have time to learn it? And because all day long you'll see people online who talking about throwing it in the ditch because there is a learning curve. But to talk, communicate, take advice from other people, that is the biggest thing.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we're just hanging out. This is Kicking It with Kickstand. I'm Tyler, a.k.a. Kickstand. I got Heath Coker from SwampWorks down here in Waycross. He's here joining the show. Just kind of talking gaming, talking painting, hobbying, 3D prints. Marble says, thanks for the basically good advice. He's going with the, looks like the English spelling of advice, ADVISE. We'll wait a little bit and see if anybody else.
And to add on that, James, don't buy one. Pay me to print something. We can always do that.
Yeah. just kind of hanging out, folks, and we see some people viewing. If anybody else has any kind of last questions?
I don't know if Jody's still on, but he won. I had a little sweepstakes type thing on the Waycross gaming community page, and he won a printed mini.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Also, I think you printed some stuff for the deck building game, but the deck's pretty much already built. Forge World? No. What was the card game that was popular for a little bit?
Oh, that
Keyforge. Keyforge, yeah. You had printed a deck holder for Keyforge. Sarah Yoakum, best wet palette. Do you buy or do you prefer to make one?
I've only used one. I've never made one, but the Masterson's Stay Wet palette off of Amazon, I love the principle of it. It works great, and great for blending, keeping the paints pliable. But I'm too lazy to go try and make something. But it was Amazon, couple dollars, and it comes with so many the sheets you can buy the refills.
Right. Yeah, I know that's the big thing now is the wet blend and the wet palette that people are using. I have not ventured down that path yet. I've seen people use it. I've watched videos on it. I just not have gone that route. Marbles. Oh, I'm not interested in doing that. He said he'll leave it all to you, brother. Baker chimed in. I still need him to print me some 15 millimeter sci-fi armor.
We need to design that armor. That's something we can work on.
He said there's no time like the present. So all the time in the world to get it done right now. So hold on one second. Okay. All right. Love you. Have a good one.
Bye.
That was my daughter. So my daughter's heading out. So and then Baker chimed in Keyforge. So that was a game that was pretty popular for a while that we were playing a good bit of. It's like a deck building type game for the most part. However, your deck is already built, so it's not like you're having to go out and buy 27 packs and try to build a deck. It's a deck consistent of 30 cards already, and it's each deck has like 3 factions at random, and supposedly, and it's every pack, every deck is different. So they may have the same 3 factions in it. However, 2 cards may be different out of all of them. And I actually think they've had a couple of expansions. They've had a couple of expansions out of it. But it was an interesting game that we were doing for a while. We even had a tournament that Sigley put on at one point when we were gaming at the mall for a while. But that's probably been almost a year ago now. Baker making a suggestion or asking about doing a painting clinic sometime on here. So we're always, always open to different things. We could certainly try. The camera angle things might be an issue. Not having the high-tech camera hanging from above unless I pick up my laptop or something, I don't know, and angle it down to what we're painting. But certainly something to look into or, see if someone has something like that. I think I know Rim Far. I know he's done a painting clinic before on a stream somewhere that I've seen.
We could do it.
So, and then Baker, I have German and U.S. World War II minis I could provide for the participants. So he's talking about, for those that may not know that are watching or joining in, listening in, Mike Baker now is a I guess ambassador. Well, I don't know the exact terminology, but he helps. He's a distributor for Warlord Games. So bolt action. So that's what he's talking about there with his German and World War II two minis. So that's bolt action from Warlord. So Lee Yoakum Heath can 3D print a mount arm for you for that. Yeah, 3D print a holder for the laptop to hold above. So, but we'll see. This kind of just started off as, I just kind of just wanted to have fun, sit back, talk with some folks. Especially like I said, it's hard to get together with folks in person and face to face. I guess this is semi face to face. Just kind of having fun with this, making a lot of mistakes, kind of learning new things on the way though. So we've had good participation from folks. Is there anybody else got any questions or comments?
Come on, I know you got them.
We've got, looks like 5 people watching. I don't know how up to date it is. Baker said it's all good, bro. He's talking about, I guess, putting in his miniatures. What camera am I using? I'm using the camera on my Chrome laptop. It's the one that's, right up here, up there at the top. That's the only camera I have other than my phone. I know, however, when I've used Zoom a couple times and on this earlier, somebody, that if you have kind of both open, if you have your phone and your laptop kind of both using the same service at the same time, there's kind of a staticky feedback and it makes an annoying noise. So there's that. And then, yeah, Baker's asking Heath, what camera are you using?
Logitech C290. It's HD webcam.
All right. Sarah Yoakum, your favorite, again, for those that may have, stepped in a little bit later, your favorite brush.
My favorite brushes, and I just looked at their website. They still have it under Slow Fuse Gaming, but go to Slow Fuse Gaming. It's Monument now, I believe, and they do the Creature Caster. They bought them out, but their Bombtastic line, there's a couple of them. Those have been the best brushes I've ever used. They've just been really good brushes.
All right. Max is asking, can y'all do a 6mm Napoleonic clinic?
Yeah. That's called prime and contrast paint.
Is that like a, I'm trying to think of the exact wording. Okay, so I'm still new to gaming, even though I've kind of been around it for, I guess, 4 or 5 years now. But 6mm, is that the smallest? Or, I mean, is that the 6mm the smallest, when it comes to gaming?
28mm is what we use for, I believe, D&D and 40K, somewhere 25, 28, something like that.
Well, what I'm asking is, like, I guess I didn't know if 6mm was the smallest. I'm just going to try to make a joke about 6mm and then Napoleon, with him having being like a small complex or something. So I didn't know if that's where, if they were using the 2mm, according to Baker, 2mm is the smallest.
That's match heads, isn't it?
So, Wow. Yeah, 28 millimeters, 40K. Yeah. So, um, but yeah, I prefer I guess, kind of the 28 and 28, 32, something around there, kind of like that. Yeah, the 40K, Blood Bowl type figures. I know 15 millimeter. We were playing Halo Ground Command or whatever was 15 millimeter. Much smaller than that. I can barely see the see. I can barely see it. And yeah, then Sarah Yoakum, 2 millimeter. What is the point? Yeah, you might lose it on the table. That's pretty small. Somebody laughed. I don't know what comment, maybe the um, Napoleon joke or whatever, or attempt at a joke. Baker put a link up for, I guess, painting guidelines for 6 millimeter. And then he also made a comment about getting Halo back out. So back when Halo came out, Baker and we both bought the starter set. The starter set came with both factions, I guess kind of the military, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember, USNs, whatever they're called. The military and then the aliens or whatever. So we each painted a faction. We each painted one of the armies to kind of get the game on the table a lot quicker. And I can't even remember. I think he painted the bad guys first, and I painted the good. I can't remember. But anyway, we were playing it for a while. So yeah, we do need to get it back on the table. So
Alex just sent me a message. Tell Tyler is UNSC.
Yeah. So I knew it was something like that. I tried to play the video games. I couldn't get into them. My son Alec, he loves them. So he's got a lot of them. So 2 millimeter is Dystopian Wars, actually.
Yeah, but the models are still big. It's just in the dystopian world, they're huge. It's not like too tiny to play with though.
I don't know. I mean, I played Dystopian Wars. I played DW. I guess we'll shorten it DW. I played DW a couple times. I don't know. I couldn't get into it. I mean, everybody has their kind of games that they prefer and everything. Sarah Yoakum, that's Lee Yoakum's wife. Again, she is saying, I guess basically 2 millimeter is gaming for ants. So, but we'll hang out here for a few more minutes, folks. It seems like every time I say that, we get a flood of questions. So we're just kind of sitting here hanging out. This is Heath Coker from Swampworks. I'm Tyler, aka Kickstand. You can go to swampworkscreative.com to reach out to Heath about getting something printed, something built. You can also message him on Facebook. Swampworks has their own page on Facebook. You're like, where do I get ideas to print? You can go to thingiverse.com. Again, Heath painted this for me recently. This is Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. It's a bust. I've never done one of these, but I've seen a lot of these pop up recently on some YouTube stuff that I follow. So I thought about trying to give one of those a try. He's printed some Gaslands weapons for me. Gaslands is, for those that don't know, that it is get your Hot Wheels out, equip them with weapons, and have a death race. So kind of put Mad Max, Fast and the Furious, Death Race, those movies. Actually, the video game Twisted Metal kind of put all those together, and that's kind of probably where you have your Gaslands from. And they're like on the planet Mars. There's multiple racing crews. I mean, you can have Mack trucks, you can have helicopters, motorcycles, cars, all kind of stuff. And then also, I showed this earlier. People may have come in later. This is to help prevent you knocking over your paints and your oils and washes.
Here's a couple more examples. Here's your Tamiya glue and primer, and I made a for your tube style paints.
Okay.
Do all kind of things. If you have something you need a solution for, we can come up with a solution.
Yeah. Heath is also he's done some slight repair work on a 3D printer on not only his but maybe somebody else's.
Yeah, that's Yoakum, the one you hear running. That's yours.
He's got yours up and running, Lee and Sarah. He's been doing some work on it. And then I know, like I said, he had to get some work done on his own that he did himself. He was reaching out and getting some help online. He was able to print some of his stuff, some of the pieces that he needed for one on another and all this good stuff. I know that a couple of us have seen your hobby space setup is pretty much all 3D printer, where you've got your paints, your lighting, you just showed some storing for your paints and your glues, all those type things. I know that Carla Johnson also had you, those the pins, but Carla Johnson had you print some card holders, I believe, and I think Mike Baker also said that he had some card holders for certain games that require a good bit of cards that you're holding. You can just kind of hold them up. So he does that. Zoolander attempted a Zoolander joke when they say gaming for ants. So Facebook user said Zoolander, and then Sarah popped back with attempted a Zoolander joke. So we've got a few people still watching. Again, this is Heath Coker. He set in. He's from Swampworks. You can visit his site. You can check him out on Facebook. Again, he's more than happy to help you out with your 3D printing needs, 3D printer needs, terrain builds, things of that nature, painting. I know he did, like he said earlier, he did some painting for some folks as well. So reach out to him if you need any of those things done.
And then I will say this also: if you need a minister who's easy to talk to and just as crazy as you are,
right? Yeah, I know. Again, in this crazy time, there's probably people probably have a lot of questions. Just a lot of things going on, a lot of questions. Maybe they're getting some answers they don't know about, or they're trying to seek advice from, a higher being, so to speak. I know you got a lot of different religions out there, so don't want to, offend anybody. But yeah, just, like you said, he's here to talk to. He is a local minister as well. So if you have any of those type questions, you can reach out to him on that as well. There was something I was thinking of, and then for some reason, it just kind of fell out of my brain, I guess.
I messed you up with the religion stuff.
No, it wasn't that. I can't even remember where I was going. But again, folks, we certainly appreciate you joining in, and we'll hang out a couple more minutes, see if any last questions pop in before we head out. I know we've been going at this for about an hour now, a little over an hour now. But again, this is just something that I kind of, was thinking about, and kind of just decided to what the heck, kind of just start doing it and see where it goes. I guess, kind of where it started. About a week ago, I had the honor of being on a show with a guy here in Waycross as well. He runs a Facebook group page called Wrestling Review Society. Him and his wife and his best buddy and his wife. So these two couples started this page here in Waycross, and so I joined the page, and I've actually been out to the guy's house a few times to watch some wrestling pay-per-views, and I have gotten to know them. But he does a wrestling stream like this, and it's called the War Room. But about a week ago, he had a guy on there on his show called Zach Gowen. And for those that don't know, Zach Gowen was a professional wrestler in the WWE. He also did some indie stuff, but he was in the WWE for about 6 months, but he was an amputee. And he was missing, pretty much all of his, I think it was his left leg. I can't really remember. But anyway, so with me being an amputee as well, I kind of fell in love with this guy. I'm like, this dude's out here. He got, he doesn't even wear his, he wears his prosthesis to the ring and then he takes it off. So he's pretty much hopping around on one leg, wrestling. But anyway, I got to, when this guy, Kevin, he posted that he was going to be interviewing this guy. I said, dude, if there's any way, I said, can I be on there with y'all? And I said, I won't even say anything. I said, I just want to sit there, and, but anyway, so I actually kind of got to meet Zach and talk with him, ask a couple questions. So that's kind of where that started. This whole thing started. So after that, I kind of was like, you know what? I might kind of try to start this and kind of interview some gaming people around here. Maybe try to reach out to some other folks. Try to reach out to some indie guys, indie gamers, and kind of get them some exposure. And again, the main thing is just kind of, having fun with it. And, that's kind of where this whole thing started. There's really no set time limit on it. I do want to be respectful of other people's time. So again, I know Jody Ratcliffe, he's in our group, big Magic player, but he had asked about it. Again, there's no real set time or day. It's just kind of, I want to reach, kind of work around people's schedule. So we haven't had any comments or questions come in. It's getting close to dinner time for folks. So, but again, Heath, man, I appreciate it. Appreciate you stepping, dropping in and deciding to join and talk about everything. And so, any last comments?
Keep it on the table.
All right. Well, y'all have a good one, folks. We'll catch you later. All right. Bye, Heath.